There is a moment before every ending that carries more weight than the ending itself. That pause, that silence, that subtle shift of energy before you walk away. This is where everything that truly matters happens. It is not in the words you say, nor in the explanations you give, but in the essence you leave behind. You see, human beings are not moved by logic when something ends. They are moved by the emotional imprint that remains in the soul after the words have faded. When you say goodbye, you must understand that it is not the goodbye itself that will stay with him. It is the energy you carry as you leave. Most people believe that closure comes through conversation. They believe that if they just explain enough, justify enough, or express enough emotion, the other person will finally understand. But that belief is born from fear, the fear of not being remembered, the fear of not being seen. True remembrance, however, doesn't come from words. It comes from the emotional resonance you leave behind. When your final moments are filled with calm strength rather than emotional chaos, you imprint something far more powerful than any speech could create. You leave behind an energy that whispers, "I am at peace with what is." There is something haunting about peace, especially when it comes from someone who once cared deeply. Because peace means acceptance, and acceptance means power. When you leave from a place of quiet acceptance, you are no longer fighting for understanding. You are no longer trying to prove your worth or explain your pain. You are simply standing in truth. And that truth is what echoes in his mind long after you're gone. He will remember your silence, your composure, your stillness in that final moment, because it contrasts with everything the world taught him about loss. Most people leave in noise. They cry, they plead, they demand to be heard. But noise fades quickly, it burns hot and dies fast. Silence, however, lingers. It hums in the background of memory. It pulls at the edges of thought when he least expects it. It returns in dreams, in quiet hours, in moments of solitude. Because when you say nothing, yet everything within you speaks, that is when the heart truly listens. That is when he realizes something deeper, that your connection was real, but your strength was greater. There is a certain dignity in walking away with grace. It's not about pretending you feel nothing, nor is it about suppressing what you feel. It's about choosing to express your emotions in a way that honors your spirit. When you leave with peace, you are not denying the pain. You are transforming it into power. You are showing that your love was never dependent on the outcome. That your worth is not measured by whether someone chooses you, but by how truthfully you can choose yourself, and that realization leaves an emotional fingerprint that cannot be erased. People remember the ones who made them feel something beyond comfort, the ones who awakened their conscience, who stirred their inner world. When you depart with calm strength, you awaken something ancient within him. The awareness of loss, not because you disappeared, but because your essence remained untouchable. He will try to replay that last moment in his mind, trying to read what was behind your still eyes, what you meant when you didn't say a word. That is the beginning of his remembering. That is when your absence becomes louder than any presence could ever be. Never underestimate the power of emotional restraint. It is not coldness, it is wisdom. It is the understanding that your value is not proven through persuasion, but through presence. The one who can stand in front of goodbye without collapsing under its weight holds the greater power, not over the other person, but over themselves. Because when you no longer need someone to validate your emotions, you free yourself from the endless cycle of attachment and disappointment, and that freedom radiates an energy that is unforgettable. Every soul recognizes authenticity. When you walk away without bitterness, without performance, without forcing a conclusion, you reveal your authenticity in its purest form. That energy once felt cannot be forgotten. It becomes a reference point in his life, the moment he realized what real emotional maturity feels like. And in time, he will compare every other connection to that feeling, to that memory of you standing there, unmoved, unbroken, at peace. This is why you must never rush to speak when you are about to leave. Let the silence do what words cannot. Let your eyes communicate what your voice no longer needs to say. There is profound power in that kind of farewell, because it tells him, on a level beyond language, that your spirit is intact. And when someone witnesses a spirit that remains whole even as it walks away, they are changed by it. They remember it not as loss, but as revelation. So before you say goodbye, remember this. Don't leave with words, leave with energy. Don't try to be understood, try to be felt. Because it is not the explanation that will stay with him. It is the essence of who you were in that final moment. When you walk away with peace in your heart and truth in your eyes, you do not just exit his life. You echo through it. There is something profoundly magnetic about mystery. The human mind cannot release what it cannot understand. It circles around it, revisits it, tries to make sense of it, and in that endless search, it becomes bound to it. This is why, before saying goodbye, the most unforgettable thing you can do is leave him with questions that have no immediate answers. Don't offer clarity where curiosity can do the work for you. Don't hand him closure neatly packaged in words. Let him sit with the uncertainty. Because the truth is, what remains unresolved stays alive in the mind far longer than anything that is explained. People crave understanding. They want to categorize everything. To know why it ended, to label the experience, to assign blame or justification. But when you walk away without feeding that need, you awaken something primal within him. You leave him with an emotional riddle he cannot solve, and the human psyche is drawn to what it cannot control. He will begin to think of you in moments he doesn't expect. He will remember your silence, your calm tone, your half smile, and he will wonder, what was she really thinking? Did she feel what I felt? Did she ever truly love me? Or was there something deeper I never saw? This kind of wondering becomes a form of invisible connection. It keeps you alive in his consciousness without you ever saying a word. You become not a chapter he finished, but a story he cannot close. Because mystery has a way of turning endings into beginnings in the mind. The more he tries to move on, the more his thoughts will circle back to what he doesn't know. That is how emotional energy works. It seeks resolution. And when there is none, it lingers. Leaving him with unresolved mystery doesn't mean playing games or manipulating emotion. It's about restraint, about understanding the power of what is left unsaid. When you resist the urge to explain, to justify, to make him understand, you show mastery over your emotions. You communicate without words that you are not desperate to be understood. You are content to be felt, and that kind of confidence leaves an imprint far deeper than any final speech ever could. It stirs something in him, because it mirrors something he lacks: self-control. Mystery creates depth. It tells him that there is more to you than he ever saw, more to your silence than emptiness, more to your departure than rejection. It makes him look back and question his own perception of you. Perhaps he thought he knew you completely, but now he realizes he never truly did. That realization plants a seed of fascination. He will start to replay moments in his mind, searching for hidden meanings in your gestures, your words, your last look. Every small memory becomes a clue. Every detail becomes significant. That's the power of what you leave behind. It transforms into something far greater than what was ever spoken aloud. You must understand that the heart doesn't crave closure. It craves meaning. And when meaning isn't handed to it, the mind begins to create it. That's where obsession grows, not from passion alone, but from confusion entwined with longing. When you leave a man with the echo of mystery, he will try to fill in the blanks with his imagination. He will build versions of you in his thoughts, each one tinted by his own desires, guilt, and wonder, and the more he imagines, the deeper you settle into his subconscious. To be unforgettable, you must become unresolvable. You must resist the temptation to end everything neatly, because neat endings are forgettable. They give the illusion of closure, and closure erases emotional tension. Leave some questions unanswered. Let the energy between you remain slightly unfinished, slightly open. That openness becomes a portal through which memory flows endlessly. It's not cruelty, it's truth. Life rarely offers perfect conclusions, and love, when real, always ends with traces left behind. What's extraordinary about mystery is that it demands his participation long after you've gone. He becomes the one carrying the weight of wondering. You no longer have to speak or reach out or prove your worth. The mystery does the work for you. It keeps him emotionally tied, even in distance. And the more he tries to rationalize it, the more emotionally entangled he becomes. Because rational thought cannot resolve emotional absence. It can only amplify it. So, when the moment comes to say goodbye, don't give him everything. Don't reveal every layer of your soul as if you owe him the full truth. Leave parts of yourself unexplained. Let him sense that you hold something sacred within you that he never fully touched. That sense of almost but not quite is what stays. It's what turns memory into longing. It's what makes him look back, again and again, wishing he could have known you a little more deeply. There is wisdom in leaving without giving all of yourself away. When you hold back just enough, when you protect the mystery of your inner world, you preserve the most powerful kind of presence, the one that survives absence. He may forget the sound of your voice, but not the tone of your silence. He may forget what you said, but not the feeling of being near someone whose depths he never fully explored. Do not underestimate the power of being a question rather than an answer. Answers end thought, questions sustain it. When you walk away as a mystery, you do not vanish. You expand in his mind. You become a symbol of something rare, the one who didn't try to make him understand, the one who let the silence speak. And that silence will speak to him long after you're gone. Before you say goodbye, there comes a moment when you must remember who you are. Not who you were in his eyes, not who you tried to be to make things work, but who you are when all illusions fall away. This moment is sacred, because it decides whether your departure becomes a collapse or a rebirth. Most people leave carrying fragments of themselves, pieces scattered by disappointment, pain and longing. But the one who remembers their wholeness before they walk away leaves differently. They don't exit in defeat. They exit in truth. When you stand before someone you once loved, there is always a temptation to shrink, to soften your voice, to hide your strength, to make your goodbye gentle enough not to disturb him. But love that requires you to silence your truth is not love, it's submission. The highest form of love is the kind that allows you to remain yourself, even in parting. So when that moment comes, let your energy say, I remember who I am, not with pride, not with coldness, but with calm certainty. It's not about showing him you've moved on. It's about standing in the quiet realization that you were never lost to begin with. Many people think that goodbye means losing power, but in truth, it is where power is reclaimed. When you leave while still remembering your worth, you are not walking away from something. You are returning to yourself. You are ending the illusion that your happiness lives outside of you. You are showing through your energy that you no longer need validation to feel valuable. That shift, though silent, transforms everything. Because the energy of self-possession is unforgettable. It speaks louder than words, resonates deeper than explanations. It tells him that your strength was never born from defiance but from awareness. In that awareness, there is no blame, no anger, no need to prove anything. There is simply clarity. The kind of clarity that glows quietly, like a candle that refuses to flicker in the storm. When you stand in that kind of energy, you're not trying to convince anyone to see your worth. They can already feel it. And that's the paradox. When you stop seeking recognition, you become undeniable. When you stop chasing understanding, you become unforgettable, because your presence carries the weight of truth, and truth, once experienced, cannot be erased. He may look at you and sense the difference without being able to name it. Something about you will feel unfamiliar, even though he has seen your face 1,000 times. It's because you no longer mirror his projections. You reflect your essence. You no longer react to his energy. You hold your own. That shift is quiet, but it changes everything. People can forget faces, voices, even shared moments, but they never forget the feeling of someone standing in their own power. That feeling imprints itself in the subconscious. It becomes a reminder of what authenticity looks like, what emotional maturity feels like. To embody this energy before saying goodbye, you must first forgive not him necessarily, but yourself. Forgive yourself for all the times you stayed too long, for all the times you gave too much, for the times you silenced your intuition for the sake of harmony. Forgiveness cleans the energy between you. It ensures that when you walk away, you don't carry the residue of resentment, only the lightness of understanding. That lightness is magnetic. It doesn't pull him back through manipulation. It draws him in through memory. He will feel it, not as guilt, but as recognition. The recognition that he stood in the presence of someone who chose evolution over attachment. It is not strength to suppress emotion. It is strength to stand in emotion without being consumed by it. When you can say goodbye with tenderness but not need, with compassion but not clinging, you embody balance. And balance is powerful. It creates an energy that both soothes and disturbs the heart, because it's rare. Most people part ways in emotional extremes, anger, sorrow, regret. But to leave with equanimity, with full awareness of your value, is to leave an imprint that outlasts emotion. You become not a memory of pain, but a memory of peace. And that peace, that steady glow of self-awareness, is what he will never forget. Because peace has gravity. It stays, it draws the mind back again and again, searching for the source of that calm. He will remember how you looked at him, not with pleading, not with bitterness, but with gentle detachment, as if blessing the very moment that separates you. That look, that silence, that unspoken strength will follow him, because it speaks a universal truth that love can end, but self-respect remains eternal. Remember, endings are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to return you to yourself. The moment you stop fighting for someone's understanding and start honoring your own truth, you shift from loss to liberation. That transformation is what he feels when he thinks of you. He may not understand it logically, but something deep within him will know. He met someone who knew herself, and that knowing is unforgettable. So when you finally turn to walk away, do it with presence. Feel your own energy as you leave. Do not look back in longing, look forward in knowing. Let your silence speak the final words your mouth doesn't need to say. I remember who I am. And when you walk away in that truth, he will never truly let go of the memory of you. Because what he will remember is not the goodbye, but the strength of the soul who said it.